Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hari. So, good evening, one and all who are present here today. We're just getting started with the program for the day. So, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce the speaker for today, Mr. Ajay Bhutra. Ajay Bhutra is an optometrist and novelist. He's an executive director at Himalaya Optical, headquartered in Noida. The company comes under ophthalmic equipment industries. He shares a great passion for optometry and writing. He has an extensive work experience in the optical retail industry. He has received several national and international certifications in the field of optometry. And the list is a very long list, actually. So I had to just curtail it a bit to just give you an overview. He has taken several training sessions on business strategy, HR practices, retailing, organizational structure, coaching, and mentoring employees. A very long list of business related aspects that Sir has covered. He has authored 8 books on optometry alone, a self-help book on retail sales, and a fictional novel titled Yet We Marry. The topic for today is Introduction, Basics of Light and Lenses. Let's welcome the speaker for the day with a round of applause so that we can get started. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. So I'll straight away go to my screen. I believe everyone can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So at the onset, thanks to the Dr. Senthil and the Dr. Senthil's team for organizing such a extensive program for dispensing training. See, I have been in this optical industry since last 35 years, and I am really passionate about optometry, and I always like to share whatever I know. So based upon that, I have prepared, based upon my experiences, my ideas, and also from my knowledge gathered over several trainings, I prepared this session, this dispensing training program. The first topic for today, which I have conceived, is this. It's a very foundational chapter, the basics of physics only that we have learned in our class 7 or 8 probably. So today we will be recapitulating those basics only, because these basics are very much pertinent for understanding the application of our ophthalmic lenses. Now, while going ahead with the lecture, what I will do, I will try and speak both in English and Hindi so that clarity is there, and I will not go just detailing on my lectures only. I'll try and stop in between to understand your understanding also. In case you have any questions and all, you can either put on the chat box so that I can take that question and give you the answer.
Please excuse that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also explain in Hindi as well as English. So
yeah, I will explain in Hindi also. I will explain in English also.
Please check with the audible or you are audible and other things.
Okay. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, very much, sir.
Okay. So let me go ahead. Okay. For the sake of convenience, I have divided the entire lecture of today in 4 sections. The section 1 is the basics of light, and section 2 is basics of lenses, and section 3 is about light and lens interaction, which is also about, we'll be covering only the basics. And the section 4, which is the last section of today's discussion, is about the ophthalmic lenses. Now, most of the contents of this lecture that I have taken is from my book only. These are the 2 books that I have referred while preparing the lecture for today. So let us start with understanding the concept of light. The light, as it is written on the slide, you can see there, light carries both energy and information. So that is why it is very important for us to learn about the light. Now we receive all our informations through our different sense organs of sight, different sense organs. The organ of sight plays the biggest role for that, and where the ability of brain to interpret the visual light is very, very important for us to find out or to understand the meaning of an image. The sense of sight is greatly enriched by the perception of color, and in the absence of light, in fact, we see nothing. Now, the importance of light is that if we don't understand the light, we will not be able to understand the science behind the optical lenses. And we study this science of light under the chapter optics, which is very important, and which is very important to understand how optical mediums like lenses and mirrors are affecting the light. Now, what exactly is the light? Light is a radiant energy, as we all know. Now, it is a part of electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum is a wide spectrum where we have a visible light, which is a very small portion of electromagnetic spectrum, which ranges between only 380 nanometer to 760 nanometer. So, which means out of the several types of light, we can only see the visible light, which is a very small part of electromagnetic spectrum, which covers a wavelength of 380 nanometer to 760 nanometer. Now, at the lower end of this wavelength, that is below 380 nanometer, we have ultraviolet light, which is UV rays, and at the upper end, at the higher end of this wavelength, we have infrared light, which is infrared rays. Both these rays are invisible to our eyes because they don't fall between this range of 380 to 760. So we cannot see them, but they have a very harmful effect on our eyes. So now you can see this image, this picture also, you can understand the size of the light in the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, there are some concepts that we need to understand when we talk about the light. Now, light is measured in some terms. One of the terminology used to measure the light is the wavelength of the light. Now, when I talk about the wavelength of light, wavelength is the distance between the two crests, as you can see in this figure, two crests either, or two troughs, this and this distance between these two consecutive crests or two consecutive troughs in a transverse way, which is in the horizontal meridian. Wavelength also represents a repeating pattern of the light. Wavelength is usually expressed in terms of nanometer or micrometer, and it is represented by this symbol called lambda. Now, these wavelength can be small wavelength also. When we have a small wavelength, the distance between the two crusts will be smaller, and when we have a longer wavelength, the distance between two crusts will be larger. So that's how the wavelength differs. Now, as we cannot see this wavelength of light, or we cannot measure our wavelength of light by our eyes. We interpret these wavelength of light by the sense of color perception. Now, these 7 colors we can see, and these all 7 colors together is called Vibgyor. And we interpret all entire wavelength of the light in terms of these colors only. तो हम लोग देखते हैं wavelength को हम लोग when हमको जब लाइट ब्लू लाइट दिखती है तो हम उसको बोलते हैं शॉर्टर वेवलेंथ, और जब हमें रेड लाइट दिखती है तो हम उसको बोलते हैं लॉन्गर वेवलेंथ ऑफ लाइट. और येलो जो लाइट होती है that is always lying at the peak spectral acuity, which means yellow light focuses onto the retina, whereas blue light focuses before the retina and red light focuses after the retina. Now, something very interesting about this is the Vibgyor is that if all wavelengths of the light enter the eyes together, we interpret them as a white light. So we don't see any color. And if no wavelength of light enters our eyes, that is when the dim light is there, when the room light is dark, we interpret as a dark. Now, if there is a selective transmission of light, then we have a specific color perception. And we interpret that as certain color. For example, yellow light is passing to the eye, the others are not passing, so we interpret as that is yellow color. Human eyes, as I told you right now, is most sensitive to the yellow color, which has a wavelength of 570 meter to 590 nanometer under the photopic conditions. मतलब दिन के समय में हमारी eyes जो होती है yellow light के ऊपर में बहुत ज़्यादा sensitive होती है, which means the focus of the yellow light is right onto the retina. So that is the reason we don't prescribe yellow lenses for the daytime use, because that might have a potential to burn the retina. So please understand that yellow light in daytime is focusing on the retina, so it is not advisable to prescribe yellow lenses for daytime use. Now, spectral acuity, which in daytime is more sensitive for the yellow, it shifts to the blue in the night time, which means in the night time our eyes is more sensitive to the blue light, which ranges between nanometer 490 nanometer to 505 nanometer in a dark condition. So where red appears as a darker red or near to black, and blue appears relatively bright. Now red color is the longest wavelength of light and violet is the shortest wavelength of light that the human eye can see. You must be nowadays hearing about the blue light. So blue light, which is very much harmful for the eyes, is a combination of violet, blue and indigo. These three rays of wavelength of light combined together forms the blue light. Another term which is very important to understand is the frequency of light. You can see in this diagram also, frequency means the number of this ups and downs in a wavelength. Frequency is defined as a number of oscillation of waves per unit time, which is measured in terms of hertz. Frequency is the number of times per second that wave vibrates. You can see the number of ups and downs or number of troughs or number of crests in a one vibration. The longer wavelength will vibrate fewer times in a given time interval than the shorter wavelength. As I told you earlier also, the longer wavelength will have a longer distance between two crests or two troughs, and the shorter wavelength will have more troughs and more crests within a wavelength. So frequency is inversely proportional to the wavelength. These are some generalized conception of about the light. You can see that light rays are able to travel through a vacuum or a medium also, and light travels very rapidly. In vacuum, which is in the air, the speed of light is considered to be 1,86,282 miles per second, or nearly 300 kilometers per second. And light interacts with matter. Whenever light strikes with any sort of matter, whether it is solid or anything else, it interacts with it and something happens. We'll understand it, what happens when the light strikes with our optical lenses. Light has a dual nature, as we discussed just now. It carries informations and it also carries energy. Now, when we talk about principles of optics, we assume that light always travels in straight line. This is important to understand, that principle of optics is based upon the assumptions that light always travels in a straight line, and which has been proved by several researchers, several studies, several there is studies done in different ways. Through the light transmission has been seen through the pipe, through this hole. All these are the experiments have been done to prove that light travels in straight line. Now, another assumption which is made to understand the concept of principles of optics for ophthalmic lenses is that light also travels from left to right. This is an assumption that light travels from left to right. All measurements are taken from the object image to the lens. Velocity of light defines the speed of light with which light emitted travels in a medium. Different medias have different velocities. The velocity of light in rare medium is slower than the, in rare medium is faster than the denser medium. For example, if the light is traveling from the water, which is a rare medium, compared to the ice, the speed of light in water will be little greater, because in rare medium, light travels faster. A light passes from a rare medium to a denser medium, its velocity reduces and vice versa. Now, when light transmits from, say, our optical medium, which is a denser medium, to the air, which is a rare medium, the speed changes. The speed from rare to denser, it is reduces, and from denser to rare, it increases. So that's how the change of speed comes. For this reason, the ratio of velocity of light in air to that in a given medium is taken as the refractive index of the material. This concept of velocity of light is used to derive the index of material. And that index of material is very important in the study of optical lenses. Now you can take this example. If you have to find out the index of any material, so you have to use this formula. So the formula is the velocity of light in air, velocity of light in the medium. Let's take an example. Say, for example, if the crown glasses, which is a very common glasses in optical industry, if the velocity of light passes through it is 1,22,000 miles per second, what could be the index of this crown glasses? And this can be derived by using this formula very simply. 1,86,000 is the miles per second speed of light traveling in the air, which is divided by 1,22,000 miles per second, which is the speed of light in the crown glasses. If you divide this way, the answer is 1.52. 1.523 denotes the refractive index of the crown glasses. Please remember that this number is without any unit. Refractive index of a lens is measured by numbers only without any unit. Let's have some questions now. Mr. Hari? Hello? Mr. Hari?
Yes, sir.
Can we have questions now? We can ask this question to them.
Yeah, you can ask the question.
Yeah. So how will they answer this question?
They can chat box. They can answer this thing.
Chat box. Okay. So everyone can take this question. What would be the refractive index of the lens material if the velocity of light through it is 1,60,250 miles per second? And you have 4 options. So everybody can write their answer in the chat box. How do we see that chat box, Mr. Hari?
Yeah. The down there is a chat, na?
Not coming. It's not coming. Yeah, can you help me to have to see the answers on the chat box?
Yeah. Dhyanesh Kadam answer 1.60.
Okay, the answer is 1.60. Most
Yeah.
people are answering. Okay, that's correct. Okay, the question number 2. What has been noted as the biggest limitations of the spherical lens design? I think we postpone this question. We'll take this question after the second session. Let me continue.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So, Mr. Hari, how are these drawings have come in this PowerPoint slides?
No,
This red, yellow, blue. How they have come here?
are you having any this thing? You are sharing, na?
I am sharing, but ये light, ये जो colors जो आ गए, how can we remove that? Why they have come here?
Okay, I will check. You continue.
Just check. I'll just check that. I don't know how it came. Are you checking it? Mr. Hari?
Yeah, it's in your PPT already. It's in your PPT, I think.
No, that's not my, that was not in my PPT. I think it is coming in the Zoom only. Otherwise, when I'm seeing my PPT in my other desktop, they are not there.
Uh-huh. In Zoom, there is no option.
I don't know. Let's continue. Then.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So now see, it is increased now. We are not able to see this now. See.
Now cleared.
gone.
You cleared. Now cleared it. It's cleared now.
It's not yet clear, but partially it is cleared now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something in your PPT is selected. Some drawing or this thing is selected, chart or something.
I think something has gone. I mean, some key has been pressed. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Now let's talk about the lenses. Lenses are the bodies made of transparent material and bound by two surfaces, one of which has to be curved. Please understand that any body which has got any transparent body, which has got two surfaces, not necessarily a lens. Not necessarily a lens. For making it a lens, it has to be curved at least from one surface. So I repeat once again. Lenses are the bodies made of transparent material and bound by two surfaces, one of which is at least curved. And the curve may be uniform all across the entire spectrum of the lens surface, or it may vary depending upon the lens design. There could be a plano surface, there could be a cylinder surface, there could be the toric surface, and there could be a spheric surface. When the surface is plano, they have zero curvature. Having infinite zero curvature means they have infinite radius of curve and may be considered as a spherical surface. Cylinder surface means the cylinder lens has zero curve along its axis meridian with finite radius curvature along the meridian of perpendicular to the axis. One meridian has a curve and another meridian has got a zero curve. And the first one meridian has got a finite radius of curve. Toric means toric is a combination of spherical and cylinder surface, whereas aspheric surface is denoted by a surface which has change of curvature noted or seen across the entire surface. Now, this is the picture, which is the beautiful depiction of difference between a spheric curve and an aspheric curve. On the top picture, you can see on the left hand side, which shows the spherical curve, and on the right hand side shows the aspheric curve. You see there is a similar radius of curve throughout the surface in the spherical lens curve. And on the aspherical curve, you can see the central portion of the lens has got the same curvature, but as you move away from the center towards the periphery, the curve starts changing. Now the impact of this can be seen on the image formation of the lenses, which is clear from the picture at the bottom. You can see from the spherical lens, light rays coming from the spherical lens are not focusing at the same point. Instead of creating point image for the point object, it creates a blur circle. But whereas in case of aspheric lenses, it is creating a point image for point object. All the rays of light transmitting through the different portion of the aspheric focus on one single point. Please remember, this concept will be taught on several occasions in coming time in the sessions. Now the real life impact of this asphericity is, and these two curves are seen like this. Now if you can see again at the top picture on the left hand side, you can see all the square grids are uniform throughout its width. Whereas if you are seeing the square grids through the spherical lens curve, you can see some distortions and which are more prominent as you move towards the periphery of the lenses. And if you see the keyboards through that lenses, you can see the similar impact. Now in the optical ophthalmology, we use the lenses for the purpose of focusing the light. Basically, we have two types of lenses, convex and the concave. And this division is based upon the behavior of light towards the parallel beam of the light. Okay, light rays coming from the convex lenses are converging at one point, whereas light rays transmitting through the concave lens are not focusing at one place, they diverges. Convex lenses, as it is appeared from the figure, they are very, very thick at the center compared to the edges. They add convergence to the incident rays of light, which means rays of light passing through these convex lenses, they come to a focus at the image point. Although just now in the previous slide we discussed that they don't create the point image of the point object. That is true. It's for the purpose of understanding, you understand they are coming to one single point of convergence. So because of this property of these convex lenses, they are also called converging lenses. Now convex lenses also magnify the images, making them look larger than what they are actually. Now if you check the movement through the convex lenses, if you target an object through the lens and check the movement of the lenses, you will see against the motion image movement, which means if the lens goes up, the object image will go down. Concave lenses are thicker at the edges, they are thinner at the center. They add divergence to the incident rays of light, means rays of light passing through the concave lenses diverges. So that is why they are also called diverging lenses. They minify the images. All objects seem smaller than see the motion.
Yes, sir. What happened?
Anything? Anything wrong, Mr. Hari?
No.
Continue?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Now it is important that we understand how do our spectacle lenses are formed. Actually, our spectacle lenses are the combination of several prisms. Now, You can see in this diagrams, the left-hand diagram shows the converging formation of lenses. What happens? The rays of light passing from the periphery of the lenses, they bend more faster than the rays of light passing through the either pair. As you can see, the light rays passing from the top and the bottom prism undergoes maximum refraction. They are converging faster, and the light rays passing through the center will go prism. If the prism angle portion of the lens is bending the light little more than the mid portion or the central portion of the lenses. Now, two assumptions that light rays passes in a straight line and light rays passes from the light rays travels from left to right. Based upon these two principles, only the sign conventions rule is been designed. And second assumption is that all dimensions are measured from the relevant lens surface to the point of interest, that is focus, image point, object point, etc. You can see on this figure, see light rays are traveling from left to right. Okay, now this is the surface image lens where the light is passing from. Now if you measure the light travel from this portion object to the point of interest, you are measuring it in the direction of the light, so it is denoted by plus. Now here the light is been not focusing at this side. Now if you keep your eyes here, you will see that the light has been first converging at this point. Now the measurement is, now if you are measuring from this this distance to this, it is against the motion of the light travel, so it is denoted by minus. That is the reason concave lenses are denoted by minus and convex lenses are denoted by plus. Now in our optical lenses, we have several meridians. Now these meridians are similar to the weft and warp of the cloth. Now जैसे कपड़े बनते हैं ना कि एक थ्रेड जो है वर्टिकली आता है, दूसरा थ्रेड हॉरिजॉन्टली आता है, and several threads comes like this and they create a cloth. Similarly, our lenses are created. There are several in lenses. We don't call them weft and warp. We call them meridians. So there are several meridians in the lenses, and out of those several meridians, there are two principal meridians. They lie at a distance of 90 degrees. So these are the imaginary line, and the two principal meridians, the meeting point of these two principal meridians is called the optical center. As you can see here, there are several meridians you can see in the lenses. Now, optical center lies at a point which is on a principal axis where all rays of light are meeting at the center, and rays of light passing through it emerges undeviated. What I mean to say is that from any other portion of the lenses. If the rays of light passes, they will either bend, but if the rays of light passes from the optical center, they will not bend. They will pass in a straight line. This optical center, very important that you coincide this optical center with the IPD of the patient while dispensing the eyewear. Now let's take the question. The question is, what is the true meaning of the term lenses? We have 4 options. Any transparent material is a lens. A transparent body having 2 surfaces is a lens. A transparent body having 2 surfaces, at least one of which is curved, is a lens, or all of the above. You can write your answer in the chat box. Mr. Hari, could you please check the answer? Mr. Hari? Hello? Mr. Hari?
Yes, sir, you can continue.
Can you check the answer?
Yeah. Yeah, so answer is Priyadarshini C.
C, okay. That's correct.
Yeah.
Another question. Which of the following statement is correct? A. Optical center of the lens lies on the meeting point of 2 principal meridians. Light passing through optical center passes undeviated. Optical center of the lens must coincide with the patient's IPD, or all of the above.
D is the answer.
D. Correct answer is D. Okay.
Sir.
All right. So we move to the third section, which is interaction of light with lenses. Now, as I told you earlier, whenever light strikes with the metal, something happens. So when light travels through a medium, it is influenced by the physical, chemical, and other properties of the metal, which is called interaction of the light. The interaction occurs in the form of either emission, absorption, transmission, and reflections. Now, this interaction determines the appearance of everything we see. जब भी लाइट कोई भी सरफेस से, कोई भी मैटर से स्ट्राइक करती है, तो चार चीजें होती है. Light emits, or light is absorbed, light transmits, or light may reflect also back to the same position, same medium. Now, this is depending upon the different matters, light responds accordingly. Transparent matters transmits more light and absorbs less light, whereas translucent matters absorbs more light and transmit less light. And opaque matters absorbs most light. Our ophthalmic lenses are transparent materials. They are transparent bodies. And when the light intersects with ophthalmic lenses, 3 things happens. Light is absorbed, light is reflected, light is transmitted. Means you try and understand that not entire light transmits from any lenses. Some of the light will be lost in the lens material, which is called absorption. Some of the light will go back to the same media, which is called reflection. And some of the light will transmit to the other side of the lenses, which is called refraction of the light. And our objective is to have the refraction of light more than the reflection and absorption. Absorption means when the spectrum of the light passes through a medium, it appears to have lost certain wavelength. मतलब क्या होता है, जब लाइट कोई भी मीडिया से पास करती है, तो some of its wavelength is lost in that medium only, which is loss of light. And this happens because the material itself absorbs the light. Now, selective absorption is the basis for the color objects having color. If all the wavelengths are passing equally, we will see it as a white. And if we have a selective transmission of wavelengths, then we'll have a specific color perception. A red apple appears as red because it absorbs other colors of the visible spectrum and reflects only the red light. Now, reflection is another very important phenomena, which is redirection of the light caused by the light's intersection with the matter. When light strikes to the transparent material like spectacle lenses, some of the light goes back to the same medium and most of the light transmits. Now, reflection is a loss of light, which is also an undesirable phenomenon. Sorry. Now, when light interferes with a transparent material like spectacle lenses, refraction also occurs, which is called transmission of light. Ophthalmic lenses allows us to see the object because of the light transmission through them only. Now, while understanding the several concepts of light and the lenses and their interactions together, we need to understand some basic rules of the basic phenomena of the physics, which are very, very important while designing the lenses. These are reflection, refraction, dispersions, total internal reflection, interference, diffraction, polarization. I will not spend a lot of time on these because these are all very basics of physics, but I'll just touch upon it. Reflection, as you know, rays of light, incident rays of light coming from one medium, when it strikes to a transparent medium, some of the light is reflected back to the same medium also. So which is called reflection. Reflection of light is a loss of light, which is for optical dispensing undesirable phenomena, which prevents the light transmission and thereby reduces the contrast. Diffraction of light, when rays of light travels from one medium to another, it changes its paths. The change in path is known as the refraction, and that is how we see light rays passing from air through the lenses, change its paths, and then it focuses onto the retina, and that makes us see the world. Dispersion of light, it happens when you see the light transmission through the prism. White light is dispersed into its 6-7 colors and creates a rainbow effect. Total internal refraction is a complete reflection of rays of light within the medium, such as any medium which is glass or water, from the surrounding surface back into the medium. As you can see in this picture, total internal reflection takes place within the light when the light is in the more denser medium and approaching the lens less denser medium. You can see in this picture, the light is within the lens and approaching the air. The lens edges leaves the fine ground. You can see when thick glasses are dispensed to the patients, we can see the reflection of the rings, side rings, and this is because of total internal reflection only. Interference of light is a principle which is used in spectacle and ophthalmic lens industry to create anti-reflection coating on the lens surface. The reflection of light from one surface is nullified by the effect of that is cancelled by the reflection of light from the other surface. Diffraction of light happens when light passes from the aperture. Now, polarization is a phenomena which is called giving direction to the light wavelength of the light. Light polarization is a property of the light wave that represents the direction of their oscillation. A polarized light vibrates or oscillates in only one direction. This is in contrast to the non-polarized light that vibrates in many directions. You can see in this picture, light rays before this polarizer is passing in several directions, but whereas after the polarization, you can see it is only traveling in one direction, means polarization filter has been aligned in a vertical direction, so the light can only transmit through this polarizer filter in a vertical direction only. The horizontal rays of light are blocked. If anybody wants to take this question, what happens when light interacts with the lenses? We have 4 options: light diffracts, light refracts, light polarizes, and light disperses. Mr. Hari?
Sir,
No. Can you see the answer?
B is the answer.
Yes, B is the answer, correct. So coming to the last section of today, we'll be talking about the ophthalmic lenses now. Now you can see this graph. This is the entire spectrum of ophthalmic lenses currently available in optical industry. The entire ophthalmic lenses can be divided into 2 categories, either with respect to the lens design and with respect to the lens material. Now on the right hand side, the division is based upon lens material. We have 2 different kinds of lens material: mineral glasses and organic material. Now mineral glasses are available in single vision. They are also available in multifocal, whereas organic lenses are available in polycarbonate. They are all available in CR39 material. They are also available in Trivex material. Now, if you look at single vision, we have clear lenses, we have tinted lenses. Tinted may be fixed tints, tinted may be changeable tints, and the tinted may be mirror coated tints also. Now they also vary with respect to their indices. We have several indices of lenses available in glass. Most common among them are 1.7, 1.8, 1.9. In the multifocal category, we have round segment bifocal, which is popularly known as crypto bifocal. We have T-shaped bifocal, which is popularly known as Univest bifocal. And we have E-style bifocal, which is popularly known as executive bifocal. And we have a no-line multifocal lenses, which is most popularly known as progressive addition lenses. Now, polycarbonate lenses are available in single vision with an index of 1.586. They are available in changeable tint. They are also available in Univest bifocal. They are also available in progressive lenses. CR39, they are different single. They are available in single vision. They are also available in multifocal. Now they have different indices also. Now when the indices changes, the name also changes also. Particularly CR39 has got the refractive index of 1.498. 1.60 is basically polycarbonate or MR8. They are available in fixed tints. They are available in changeable tint, which is called transition. And they are also available in mirror coating. Multifocals, again, we have all varieties of bifocals and no line progressive lenses. And in addition to that, we have occupational lenses also, which is called enhanced near vision lenses. Trivex is currently available in single vision with an index of 1.523 and progressive addition lenses. Now, when we talk about the lens design, all lenses can be categorized into 2 categories. One single vision, another is multifocal. And when we talk about single vision lens design options, we have spherical lens design, we have rotationally symmetrical aspheric design, and we have atoric design, we have lenticular lens design, and in multifocal, we have D bifocal, round bifocal, executive, progressive, and occupational enhanced near vision lenses. This is the entire spectrum of lenses that are currently available in ophthalmic industry. Now, how do these lenses, whenever you put on these lenses on your eyes, how do they behave? This is very interesting to understand. The behavior of the lens on the eye is governed by several factors. One of the most important factors is lens design and lens material. And apart from that, our visual system also has got its influence. Then there are properties of lens design or lenses also. And there are personality characteristics of the user also influence the behavior of the lens on our eyes. We'll talk about it individually now. Now, the impact of lens design, when we are trying to understand the impact of lens design onto the lens behavior on our eyes, we have to divide the entire lens into two zones: the central zone of the lenses and the peripheral zone of the lenses. Now, in the previous diagram, when we were talking about the formation of lenses, we noticed that the rays of light passing from the center is going undeviated, and the rays of light passing from the paraxial portion bends less, and the rays of light passing from the periphery, they bend more. Now, because of this phenomena, the behavior of lens varies on eyes from different portions. Now, you can see in this figure, the centralmost portion of the lens is the best performing lens portion of the lenses. And the area which is in the mid portion is an area of moderate performance of the lenses. And at the extreme edges, the performance of the lens reduces. Now, in day-to-day life, the wearers, when he uses the central portion of the lens during his primary gaze, he sees everything more clearer, because rays of light, as we discussed it before also, rays of light passing from the optical center goes undeviated, transmits undeviated. So the clarity of vision is maximum. But as he moves his eyes in the secondary or tertiary gaze, the performance of the lens, what it means is that, what I mean to tell you is that as you move more peripheral portion of the lenses, as you move towards more periphery of the lenses, the performance of the lens reduces. This is the reason why larger spectacle size are not advisable for high minus prescription. Now, you can say that we also rotate our eyes during the gaze changes. Yes, we do rotate, but there is a limitations to that. What happens during the peripheral vision, eyes also move around the center of rotation. But there are two catch points here. And try understand these two catch points, very important. Most of the times, the eye and the lens movement do not rotate in unison, means they don't rotate together. And then secondly, there is a limit to the rotation. Your eyes cannot rotate more than 30 degrees. So when the eyes only rotates, the line of sight makes an angle with an optical axis, and up to 30-degree rotation, pupil and macula also rotate with the eyes movement that allows the image to be on the desired place. For the sake of explanation, we can define this zone as an area of paraxial zone or mid-peripheral zone for the sake of our understanding. So it may be considered as an area of good performance. Now, as you go away from this paraxial portion and into the peripheral portion of the lenses, the incident rays of light makes larger and larger angle with the optical axis and are no longer brought to a single focus. As we noted in the earlier diagram, the rays of light bending from the periphery focuses more closer. So the desired focal point is not made. Therefore, a focusing error is created. Now, these errors are called lens aberrations. Lens aberrations are nothing but they are the defects of the lenses, which is usually the peripheral performance of the lenses. These lens aberrations degrades and deforms image quality, and the wearer realizes the effect of these lens aberrations as visual acuity, off-axis performance of the lens reduces, means the clarity of vision from the peripheral portion of the lens is reduced as compared to the quality of vision from the central portion of the lenses. It restricts the field of clearer vision. So patient will complain, when I only move my eyes, I cannot see as clearly. Contrast reduces, which means the contrast of the object is more sharper from the central portion of the lenses as compared to the peripheral portion of the lenses. It also reduces the color sensitivity, and sometimes it does create glare sensitivity when the pupil becomes very large in the night, and night driving becomes a problem. Halos, starbursts, comet tails, all these are the problem of the night because our pupil dilates in the night. So the action of the peripheral portion of the lens is increased. Impact of peripheral lens is increased in the night time. Now, because of all these effects, there is a compromise in the all distance vision, whether it is near or distance, the visual performance is reduced. Broadly speaking, there are 6 types of lens aberrations that acts against the formation of perfect focus. These are called spherical aberrations, chromatic aberrations, oblique astigmatism, coma, distortion, and field curvature. Now, the effect of these lens aberration is more in the night time than the daytime, because in the night time our pupil dilates, more peripheral rays goes into the eyes, so the effect of aberration increases. But the effect of these aberrations can be minimized by the good lens design. That is where the designing of the lens is very, very important. Now, we talked about chromatic aberration also. Now, chromatic aberration is because of the properties of the lens material. It is not because of the lens designing. Now you can see this chromatic aberration. You just see this picture very carefully. You can see a red line, pinkish line on the edges of this t-shirt of this person. Now this you are seeing because of the effect of the chromatic aberration. In real life, we see color fringes around the object. Now these color fringes are because of the chromatic aberration of the lenses. Chromatic aberration is a material dependent. The Abbe value of the lens material describes the chromatic aberrations of the lenses. Smaller the Abbe value, larger is the chromatic aberration, and higher is the Abbe value, lens material will result into lower chromatic aberrations. That is why the polycarbonate lenses are creating more chromatic aberration, because the Abbe value of chromatic aberration is very, very less. It has a smaller value compared to the crown lenses or compared to the CR39 lenses. Now the behavior of lenses is also influenced by our eyes and our entire visual system. For example, if you take the case of pupil size also controls the amount of diffraction, and the impact of which is more in the daytime as compared to the night time, because in the daytime our pupil is constricted and the diffraction is more when the aperture size is smaller. Larger the size of pupil in the night time, it reduces the impact of diffraction. But when the pupil size increases in the night time, the impact of lens aberration increases. So we don't have any escape. So in the night time, the impact of aberration is more, and in the daytime, the impact of diffraction is more. What it means to say is that it is not possible to make a perfect lenses. There is nothing called a perfect lens in this world. Even if a customer is ready to pay you 1 lakh rupees, it is not possible to supply him a most perfect lenses. Then neuromuscular mechanism of our visual system also influence the lens visual performances. For example, whenever there is a change in the lens power, it affects our accommodation and convergence function of the eye through neuromuscular mechanism. Now, if a young hyperopic patient who could manage to see the distance with accommodation and needed to accommodate more to see near, now when he is using the plus correction, he does not need to make any effort to accommodate for distance vision. Now, when a young myope who could see near without any accommodation. Now, when he starts using the minus lens correction, he has to start doing accommodation for the near vision. Accommodation is always associated with the convergence. When accommodation happens, convergence also happen. Now, accommodation influences the intraocular muscles and convergence affects the extraocular muscles. So it is for this reason, different individuals always respond differently whenever you change the prescription. Whenever a new spectacle is being worn, every patient will respond differently. Sorry, and you cannot predict that. Now, there are specific properties of the lenses also that also influences the effect of lens behavior on our eyes. For example, plus lenses has a property of spreading the light scatter and they decreases the light's intensity, whereas minus lenses decreases the light scatter and increases the light intensity. Plus lenses expand space emphasizes on ground, whereas minus lenses constrict space and emphasizes more on figure. You must have noticed that minus people can see the objects very clearly without, but plus people cannot. Plus lenses also brings in base in effect, and whereas minus lenses brings in base out effect. So over prescription of plus by 0.25 will not create problem, but over correction of minus lenses by 0.25 might create a big problem. Now there are individual characteristics, personality characteristics of the wearer also. Myopes and hyperopes have got a different personality characteristics that also influences the behavior of the lenses on eye. Personality is defined as a system of enduring characteristics that contribute to the consistency in an individual's thoughts, feelings, and behavior. It is widely accepted that personality is influenced by genetic and environmental factors, and it is also influenced by upbringings of someone. Now, I have taken this information from numerous books that myopics usually tend to differ from the non-myopic persons along several dimensions of personality. Myopic persons tend to be more conscious, they are over-controlling, and they are good at central detailing, whereas hyperopes are more peripherally aware and they are not very good at central detailing. The cumulative impact of all these things has been seen as that some new wearers can take some time before being comfortable with the new corrections, with the new spectacle, with the new glasses. This does not mean that the glasses are wrong. If a patient at the time of delivery tells you that I am not very comfortable with the new glasses, it does not mean that the glasses dispensed are incorrect. Please understand, as long as the straight ahead vision, meaning the vision through the central portion in a primary gaze, is perfectly all right, there is nothing wrong with the glasses. It may be a situation that the patient is unable to do the new corrections or new spectacles. But for some patient, it may be an unpleasant experience because they are experiencing some unusual sensations. Now, having discussed so many rules, principles, concepts of optics, now light and lenses, now we can try and define arbitrarily what could be a good lens, what could be a bad lens, or what could be an excellent lens. This is only a definition given to you for the sake of explaining to your consumers, to your customers, to your patients. For example, you can define an excellent lens quality as this way. An excellent lens is one that is free from power error and astigmatic of oblique incidence through which image distortion is least and chromatic aberration is pushed to the extreme periphery. Means even the excellent lens is also not aberration free. As I told you in the earlier that there is nothing called a perfect lens. A good lens is one in which power, error, and astigmatism of oblique incidence is reasonably controlled to provide wider field of clear vision. Whereas a bad lens is one that provides good clear vision through the center of the lenses, but at the same time, it is the host for all 6 types of lens aberrations. Means from the optical center or from the axial or paraxial portion, the vision is perfectly all right. There is nothing wrong. But as you move away from the paraxial portion, there are host of aberrations. They affect the performance of the lenses. So these definitions you can use to explain what is a good lens, what is a bad lens to your customer, to your patients. That's all for today, is it? I suggest you to email me, all of you, to email me your name, your highest qualifications, your hometown, your companies, your hospital names, if you are working, your institute name, if you are a student. What else would you like to learn if we do more such programs? Now, the reason why I'm asking you is this, I would like to send you some materials for your reference. So I hope to receive details. That's it. Thank you. Any questions? I am open for answering. This is my details, contact details. Mr. Hari? Mr. Hari?
Yes, sir.
So we can open the session for question and answer session.
Okay, I will unmute all of them.
Yeah.
So anyone having question, you can ask questions, sir. Please. You can unmute and ask questions. Anyone is having questions? Doctors? You can unmute and ask questions, please.
Hello.
Yes, doctor, you can proceed.
Hello, sir. I'm Kishore.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Sir, our lectures is only in English language also?
No, I spoke in Hindi also in between. If you want any clarification, tell me, I will clarify in Hindi.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
I use Hindi also in between.
Hello, sir.
हाँ जी, हिंदी में बोलूं?
Sir, am I audible to you?
हाँ जी, you are audible. You are audible.
Sir, I'm Dr. Pavni here.
Okay.
I have recently bought glasses from Specs Makers for my dad.
Okay.
He hyperope of 3.25 for distance. and some around 2.5 for near. While seeing the distance, he's fine with everything. But while watching the phone screen, and even I am able to see that there is a screen is appearing something like a concave screen instead of
Okay.
a straight screen.
Mhm.
What could be the reason, sir? Like,
Okay. See, I'll just explain you in this way. See, whenever the problem arises, there is nothing called a defined guidelines for this in ophthalmic industry for handling these complaints of spectacle non-adaptation cases. What you need to see is that you need to understand that spectacle works as a marriage between frame and lenses together. There cannot be the only problem because of the lens. The problem cannot also be because of the frame itself only. So it's a combination between the frame and the lenses that works together. So whenever you are trying to discover a reason for the problem, try to look at it as a spectacle. So the criteria for looking at these difficulties is that first check the lens power. If it is correctly made, okay. Then check the fitting of the spectacle on the wearer's face. Now, very important that you compare this fitting with the previous spectacles fitting. Because if there is a change in the fitting compared to the previous spectacle fitting, then there is a change in the visual perception also. So that might also create problem. Then you also make sure that you explain the lens design to the patient, how to use the specific lenses. See, bifocal use is different, progressive use of progressive lenses that are different. So you have to understand that also. Now, regarding your specific complaint of seeing the object tilted from the bottom, it could be an issue of pentoscopic angle of the frame also. So look at the pentoscopic angle, or second, if that does not work, look at the face formed wrap. Probably these two things, if you are looking at, provided I am assuming that optical center and powers are being made correctly. So then probably the problems can be sorted out.
actually, even if I put on my father's glasses, even I am able to see the phone screen as something like a concave thing. Like my phone screen is like something is bent concave.
Is it a bifocal or a progressive?
It is a bifocal lens.
So it is quite likely that the segment position might be incorrect also. It is also possible the line of sight is not passing through the optical center of the near vision zone of the lens, bifocal lenses. That is also possible. So there are several areas, several places, points where you have to look at it. There is no defined guideline, ma'am. We attend in our clinic, in our store, we attend these complaints and we try to study the reason. But every time we have noticed that it is just a trial and error method that works. Yeah. Now, understanding this lens designing and lens material gives you a clue to think. Otherwise, you don't get the way forward also.
Sir, the spherical and aspherical lens, does it affect?
Yeah, I'll explain. I'll explain once again. The spherical lenses, actually, spherical lenses were introduced at the first. Now, when there are two drawbacks with the spherical lens design. One, they become thicker from the center. Number two, the rays of light passing from the peripheral portion of the lens is bending quicker than the rays of light passing from the central portion, which means that the point object is not image as a point object. Image is a blurred circle. So it reduces the field of clearer vision. Now, in order to improve this drawback of this spherical lens design, aspheric lens were introduced. Now, in aspheric lens, what happens? The impact of oblique astigmatism has been reduced by creating surface astigmatism. Now, this is something too typical to understand over a Zoom meeting, but try and understand that something has been done by changing the curvature at the peripheral portion so that the rays of light from all the portion of the lens focuses on the same point. That is the basic idea. But what happens? In the process, the researcher have made a lens that has become thinner and wider. So cosmetically, that aspheric lenses looks better. So every optician, when they talk about the asphericity, they talk about there is a flatter and thinner lenses. They never talk about the field of clear vision. That's the problem. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Ajay, I'm Dr. Subramanian here.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Sometimes in lenses they referred as waves. What is that?
This could be either because this could be processing difficulty problem of the lenses. Waves arises when there is a dazzling in the lenses or when there is a surface irregularity in the lenses. Now they were common in the glass material, but in the recent plastic materials, organic materials, they are not commonly seen because the processing technology has improved so much. But still, you can see in some of the plastic, if the curvature of the plastic lens is distorted during the course of the use or for any other reason.
Okay, thank you. Will you be talking about the different coatings at a later date?
Yeah. Next lecture is probably on spectacle lenses. I'll be talking about the different types of lenses.
Okay.
Today, I have just talked about the basic physics only because the foundation is on these principles only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure, sir.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anyone have?
Anyone is having question? Please ask questions. Participants, please.
Now, if anyone does not have any questions, so let me ask one question. Could I explain you the concept properly, or could you all understand the concept properly? If not, please let me know so that I can send you the details in writing on your email. If anyone wants to say anything on this.
Yeah, the description was very good, but if we get the written material also, probably it will help us.
Yeah, I want to do that, sir. There's nothing wrong in that. I want to share those things with you all. That is the reason I have given you my email ID on this. You send me your contacts and all. I will definitely send you a lot of materials.
Okay, thank you. I'll be writing to you, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Hari, can we disperse now?
Yeah, there is no questions, we can dispose.
Yeah, so say that. So you can close this meeting then.
Yeah, anyone having questions? Please ask the questions. Anyone having suggestions? Please give me your suggestions about.
Yeah, suggestions are also most welcome.
हेलो.
या हेलो.
हाँ सर, थोड़ा सा अगर हिंदी में ज्यादा अगर एक्सप्लेन नेक्स्ट टाइम करेंगे तो थोड़ा सा
अभी भी आप सर पूछ सकते हो क्या बोलना, मैं हिंदी में जवाब दे दूंगा सर.
हाँ नहीं समझ आ गया, पर कैसा कि थोड़ा सा अगर हिंदी में थोड़ा
नेक्स्ट डे में हिंदी नहीं बोलूंगा, चलिए कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
हाँ, मतलब ज्यादा समझ में आ जाता है थोड़ा सा.
श्योर सर, एब्सोल्युटली श्योर. आप उस समय मेरे को रोक के नहीं बोल देते ना, तो मैं तुरंत अपने आप को करेक्ट कर लेता.
नहीं कोई समझ में आता है, पर थोड़ा सा ऐसे अंडरस्टैंड होने में थोड़ा सा वक्त लगता है.
कोई स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक नहीं समझ में आया तो बोलिए, मैं दोबारा बोल देता हूँ अभी उसको.
नहीं कोई समझ में आ गया, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं.
चलिए ठीक
आगे. ओके.
Probably explanation in English and whenever required explanation in Hindi would be better, because most of the South Indians, we may not be very comfortable in understanding Hindi totally.
Yeah. Because Dr. Senthil told me, because most South Indians will not be able to understand Hindi.
Exactly. So as you pointed out, when there is any additional or clear explanation is required in Hindi, probably that could be added.
I will do that, sir. No issues, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone having questions? Can we dispose today's class? All the participants, thank you very much for your kind response and cooperation for our Aftal Training Academy. Any suggestions or this thing, you can WhatsApp this number. This is Hari Krishnan. I will text you my number. Please WhatsApp me.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. So I'm disconnecting.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.